Hey guys, good evening. Good evening. Sorry, had a little bit of delay tonight getting everything going. Um, uh, just had one of those days. Um, Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Um, got a couple things to go over, and a lot of stuff I didn't get is uh, put together as I had liked. I had big plans for getting a bunch of stuff done today, and that kind of didn't work out. So we're gonna just kind of shoot from the hip today, not kind of like what we do every week. So I keep trying. I start out on Monday morning. I got a plan, and it doesn't seem to ever go through. So, but I'll keep working on it. We'll eventually get this. Um, Saturday night, I went down to Darrell Gwynn Benefit Car Show in Lighthouse Point, Florida. I was at a Sheehan, I believe it's a Buick store now. It used to be Pontiac, but their GM guys they've had that dealership since 1966, and every year we do or we not we. There's some guys that put together a benefit car show for Darrell Gwynn, the top fuel driver. You got paralyzed, I don't know, in the 80s. So he has a charity, a foundation that they help other disability paralyzed people, giving power chairs to people that can't afford them and stuff like that. And it's part of the Nick Bonacani paralysis group. So, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of any of that stuff, but it's all about spinal and neck injuries and stuff like that. So anyway, this car show has been, I think that this was like the 20th annual or something like that, to help raise money. All the proceeds go to the foundation, and they give a bunch of awards away. And they've also now kind of morphed it since Miami Hollywood was Darrell's home track, and his father, Jerry Gwynn, they all raced there back. Jerry raced there since it opened. They lived in North Miami Beach at the time, so Miami Hollywood Speedway has been closed for a long time. But now they have a Hall of Fame that they've been putting racers. They bring in like 5 racers every year that were significant or of some nature at the track, and they give them a plaque. And I don't think there's actually a Hall of Fame, but it's just something they're trying to put together just to commemorate everybody that went out there to the old drag strip on Hollywood Boulevard in Broward County way back in the day. So I'm tried to get some video footage of that. I've got some small stuff to show. I did not get anything edited. Just been crazy. I set out to film a bunch of the cars there. Normally, there's 25 to 30 race cars, and then probably about 200 classic cars, and then some new cars and stuff like that. And they do a big fire up at 8 o'clock, and they usually have either a top alcohol car or a top fuel car there. They'll fire them up and stuff, do a little cackle fest. They did have an old school, might have been an old Don Garlett's car. I didn't make it over there, unfortunately. When I got there, it's like a big reunion. That's why everybody likes to go to that event. You see people you don't see but maybe once a year at that show that are old racers, or people in the car show, people in the performance car industry. Just a gathering of North Dade, all of Broward, and some South Palm Beach County people all come to this event, and it's a real big reunion and stuff like that. So needless to say, I got tugged in a bunch of corners and had a great time meeting up with a bunch of people, but unfortunately I didn't do very good with the filming that I set out to do. I really should have gotten down there early when they were setting up, uh, but I was at the shop till 6:30, so wasn't able to get down there. Um, we did get I did help Chris out. You guys on the chat before, you've seen the guy Chris comes on. He's got a yellow Nova with an LS and supercharged, and he's been having a go at it, trying to get the car back on the road. And I went ahead and he came over Saturday, and I pressed all the bearings and shafts all on his supercharger. So he's getting really close to having that done. So between that and the other stuff I had to get done Saturday, I didn't get out of here till pretty late. And then Sunday, I had all these big plans, and then I decided to work on the Phillips number 7 car. Got it up on wheel cribs and started doing some filming. I got the driver's seat out and vacuumed out all the inside. It was full of leaves and seeds and all kinds of crap. Got all the roll bar padding off and all that, and just kind of did a once-over cleaning. I had planned on pressure cleaning it, but I didn't get to that point. It started raining, so of course then I had to put everything away and run around and do all that stuff. But interesting as it is, though. I mean, we did get some film on it, so I did work on that in the evening, trying to put some stuff together on that. Didn't get very far, so kind of a bad week. Not bad, but just I had a lot of aspirations to get a lot of stuff done, and it just didn't happen. I did get all the transmission shifting things squared away on Joe's Camaro, and neutral safety switch died on it. I had to put a new neutral safety switch on it. We're having problems with the Granatelli cutouts on the exhaust. Got that straightened out, and I just have a fuel pressure regulator I need to put in, and hopefully Joe will be down probably Thursday morning to drive it, and if everything's good, I think it'll be ready to go home. So that'll be a big weight lifted getting that car out and getting it done, and I got some other stuff coming in. Papa Smurf's other teammate's car is coming in, a Buick Regal 484 car. So that's got to come in. I got to get that thing knocked out because we have a big race coming up in the end of March in South Georgia Motorsports Park. I think it's the 28th and 29th or something like that. So that'll be got to bring that in a little hustle. It's been in the wings, waiting to get in the shop for quite a while. So got to get that knocked out. So things that'll be coming in the future. Yes, that should be. Make sure I got sound here. Okay, good. We should have sound. Everything should be working good. I don't have anybody on the chat yet, so I guess I'll keep on talking. So I guess we could go over some of these pictures from the Darrell Gwynn show. So let's see here. Again, I don't have. Okay, well that's no good. Like I said, these aren't edited, so I didn't know what we had to, what we're gonna see. So, okay, this is a little better. So, 68 Camaro, good looking car. That's probably 75, 74. See the taillights. Oh, early 72, 73 Camaro. As you can see, I didn't get a whole lot of video that I wanted. I was just getting warmed up, and then just didn't get anything more done. So it was a good looking Willys streetcar. So like I said, these haven't been edited or anything. Oh, that one's upside down. That's pretty cool. Not. Oh, I apologize. I should have looked at these before we put them on there. But see, oh, another one upside down. Man. So this is interesting. This truck, if you guys might have seen it on the 2 episodes ago, I showed a shop tour, and there was a teal truck with pink flames on the front of it. Well, this is the truck. I actually did the chassis on this truck in 1990. My buddy Kip has had it all these years, and he just got finished doing a redo on it. But yeah, it's got a Fat Man front suspension, and 10-bolt rear. It's tubbed and cut. It's got axles in it. So that was one that was good. I ended up talking to Chip for an hour. That was my first big fiasco for getting. Oh, that's a good picture there. Another good one. Sorry, we should have had these edited. It was a pretty nice little. I believe this is an Anglia. Pretty nice little car. Had some what do you call it? Just Power Tour. Sorry, couldn't think of it. But it had Hot Rod Power Tour stickers on it, so it's been on the highway. I see Mike's here. Yep, just listening. Cool deal. And Bill and Don are in. And Donald Sweet's in. Good evening, guys. So we're just kind of going over some pictures from the Darrell Gwynn show. Unedited. I apologize for the upside down shots. And they're not finished by any means. So I'm just kind of showing some of the stuff that was there. You can see in the background it was a pretty full show. This old Chevy kind of reminded me of my old car. It was a nice little Cobra kit car. I believe it was a supercar. What is it? Factory 5. I think it was a Factory 5, but it was pretty cool. So I was just kind of walking around getting some pictures. I was going to try to piece this all together and make a nice video, but as I said earlier, it didn't happen. So I figured I'd show you guys what I did anyway, and we can go from there. Pretty nice El Camino. I had the roll cage was chrome plated on that. It was kind of crazy, but a lot of South Florida cars you don't see very often. They're kind of hidden away a lot. One of the race cars that was there. And if you look in the background, you can kind of see maybe the, maybe you can't. There's a peak of it, an old nitro type top fueler that did Crackle Fest. Trying to get artsy fartsy with the video. This was a pretty nice little rat rod, I guess, or hot rod. I guess it wouldn't actually be a rat rod, but pretty clean little car. Had some nice paint on it. I was just trying to, after I'd been there for a couple hours and realized I didn't get very much footage, I tried to get some more stuff on. And of course, as the night gets later, the place gets more packed, so it's hard to really film with everybody walking around, and gets a, since it's right on Federal Highway, they get a pretty big walk-in crowd checking out all the cars and stuff. So it's kind of makes it tricky to do a photo shoot, a video shoot. But kind of get the gist of what was going on there. That's my buddy Roger's car, and it's his dad's 55, kind of a gasser-ish car, real nice car, Glenn. This is a pretty nice Camaro on a, I didn't get very much video of it, but that's on a Ride Tech chassis. This is my buddy Steve's car. You guys, a bunch of guys were trying to get out, so I was kind of walking, trying to stay out of incoming cars. At this time, you can see there started getting a lot of empty spaces. A lot of people were starting to pull out, so I had to kind of hop around and try not to get run over. I think that's all I got, actually. Yeah, it was the last. That was the last one. So, let me get back here. Yeah, so that was what I was able to present. Not enough to really make a good video for the channel. I'm kind of bummed about that, but it's my fault. I should have been more prepared. I should have got down there earlier before the crowd started setting in, and I could have got a lot more information, a lot more coverage in. There was a bunch of cars I didn't get because it just had the crowds around them were way too thick, and between running into old friends and chatting with them and stuff, and before you knew it was, you know, the last couple car shots there was probably 10:30 at night, almost 11. So the night kind of whizzed by real quick and didn't give me an opportunity to actually get all the stuff I wanted to get. But hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing some of the cars. So the other thing we were working on last week was Bill and Dawn. They ran drag week. They made another successful drive-in drag. I believe this is their third sick week, and I think they have 2 or 3 hot rod drag weeks. So the car's has had some events under its belt, and performed pretty well. Nothing real crazy about. You know, we discussed last week the engine running issue and all that, and I still haven't reached out to Doug yet to pick his brain on what he actually found and did. But nevertheless, they were able to make the event. That's the main thing. Just finding out what Doug did to get it running is just more my curiosity, so that I can broaden my knowledge on Holly stuff. But yeah, I don't remember what their week average was or any of that. We really haven't talked. I'm sure they were spent after the week, and I was running nonstop here, so we haven't really had a chance to catch up and go over what went down. But they, you know, made it down the track every event, at every racetrack that they went to, and no major hiccups and no major breakdowns. So that's always a great thing. So another one in the books for them. So I guess, you know, let's go over. Let me see how I can work this. So here's. I can put these pictures up. You can put these pictures up. So these are. Get this set up here. All right, so these are some of the pictures I took of the NASCAR. That's the passenger floor. I was talking to some guys on Facebook, on Messenger, that worked on the car, or worked for the race team, and so they were asking me different questions. One guy asked me, "Is there a patch in the passenger floor?" If there is, I know what car it is. Well, it doesn't have a patch, so that was nowhere. But that's why I had the picture. but he was wanting to see the dry sump tank, and he agreed that was one of the tanks, the way they built their tank. So that was probably it. And he did tell me that was a rear end cooler duct that he probably built, because he says that's exactly how they built them, and he built most of them for the team. So that's what these pictures are all about. There's the ignition boxes that were in the car, two different brands. So kind of, leads me to believe again that this was just put together for a show car, not actually racing, because they would have probably had matching units in there, and the wiring probably wouldn't have looked like that. Well, I was just trying to show the guy was asking questions about what's it look like here, what's it look like there. So I was just taking the pictures. There's the instrument dash. These pictures were actually taken inside my trailer, so the car cover's on it, and I had to use a light to light up everything. But they're all VDO gauges, which I thought was unusual. And then we were talking about the petty bar, so this is a support bar for the petty bar, and this one up here coming through the dash. This is under the dash. That they call that the Earnhardt bar. So these bars were all stuff that was after bad race wrecks. They would add a bar, and whoever had the wreck, that's who it would get named after. And we're just looking at different things in the trunk. These are the crushed panels they put in, which was really interesting to see how they actually did that. So you got all steel here, and then you make these out of aluminum, so that when the car runs into the wall or whatever, it can take an impact but not totally tear up the body. There's the other side, and the quick fill that's disconnected. Again, just some pictures of how things were put together. I did talk to two guys that actually think that they are the ones that put the skin on this car. They worked at another shop called Leading Edge Race Cars, and they were hired to skin a couple of cars for the Bodine Matty Motorsports team. So they were pretty sure this was one of them. And we were noticing that this panel here, you can see it's got a pretty good wrinkle in it. So we were thinking maybe the car had been wrecked pretty hard at one time, but I think I found why that is. I'll show that later. Obviously, you see there's no fuel cell on it. And I was surprised it's a factory trunk lid on the car. That was pretty weird. But those are where the coils come through. And again, here there's a patch on the firewall looking back towards the inside of the car. And the guy that worked at the Phillips team said that none of their cars had that. So that was probably, again, in his thinking, it was a crashed car. But it's very possible that it was from a different team, and that's where they did their car. So just it's like the cowling and the master cylinders, the front, some of the front suspension. That's the right front wheel, the brakes and everything, and the left front with the steering box and oil filter and stuff. So just trying to show these guys pictures so they can kind of figure out what's going on. One guy was asking about the front clip, how it was mounted, which he said that is how he did them. So it was kind of interesting, finding people that worked on the car in 1997 to put the skin on the car and stuff. And they were kind of cool, like they get to see the car again and it's still alive and well and everything. I know that there's a stamping on the front clip. It's LRP, so Laughlin Racing Products. And this is another telltale of a Laughlin car, is they made the center cross member out of 3 thick wall 1x1 tubes and then welded them all together to make it super strong. So it's there. So it's definitely a Laughlin front clip. And that's inside the tunnel. So I think that's all I had on this slideshow. So that was those were some of the things we had. Now I did have some footage. Let's see, part 1 episode here. Again, these aren't edited, so I don't know exactly what's on each one of them. Oh, this is when I took the seat out of the car, and the seat was pretty bent up. So I did find a little number and somebody's initials on the seat back brace. Those white nylon things are to mount the seat. There's the seat belts, no date codes or anything, so who knows how old they are. And that was a floor bolster, like a floor mat. And these are leg bolsters, and they were bent up pretty hard. So again, they were probably in another car or in this car when it wreck or something. It's hard to say, but just kind of getting film when I release this part 1 video. I'm hoping that some people on some of these forums can identify the parts. That was the seat, and 2 guys said there's no way that was Jeff Bodine's seat, and you can see it's all bent up because more than likely whoever was the curator of the show car was probably a big guy, and those seats with the tight rib cage can be really awkward or painful to sit in if they weren't made for you. So as you can see, somebody bent the seat really wide to get it in. There was a little shifter cover. So again, just a lot of this I'm just documenting so we can try to find out where the origins of the chassis is. So that's a floor mat that was in there. Unfortunately, because the car got so much water in there, it was deteriorated and also left a lot of rust inside the car. So let's look at the next video I got here. I was just kind of showing some inside stuff. There's seat mounts. There's the rear seat mounts. And it's pretty funny. They're on sliders. It was interesting how they did all that. There's unfortunately some rust on the floor from that seat thing and a lot of rivet holes. I couldn't believe how many rivet holes were in the floor. So I don't know if I'm going to... Right now, I'm probably just going to tape them off. But at one point, or sooner or later, I guess I'm going to have to get in there and maybe weld them up or something. But so there's the dash with the switches and everything. Again, just kind of taking videos for prosperity, I guess you would say. A battery switch. That box right below that was where the batteries actually sat. So, or battery sat. You actually access it through the wheel well. So it's funny how NASCAR mandated they had to use these stock floors, and the floor stamping is actually from a Ford Torino. So this was interesting. This is the fuel cell mount, and they made this custom bar to hold a boat tank that was in the car when I got it. So I think what they did was they used a boat tank, because that way if they took the car and it was going to be placed in a building with fire marshal laws, they could unhook the fuel tank and take it out because it had a handle on it. So I think that's what that was all about. Yeah, Mike, those blue boxes are definitely MSD 6AL boxes that were tagged for Ford Motorsports, so they're painted blue or powder coated blue. But MSD did that with a lot of those different things. So here's after I vacuumed up a lot of the seeds and grass and leaves and all the other stuff that was in there. Yeah, I was just really shocked at all the holes in there. But again, like I was saying, that floor stamping is a copy of a Ford Torino. By this era in the late 80s, early 90s, so they were stamping the boxes, the floor pans. They weren't using factory ones. But there's the car up on wheel cribs, so now I can get underneath it and see what's going on there. Here's a little video. I ride around on a scooter, a creeper underneath the car. So funny that there was a. Let me stop this. See if I can back up here. Well, you can see right. Oh, that's a good spot there. So left front wheel has this eccentric on the lower A-arm, and it's on the back side. So that would be a caster adjustment. So that's a quick way that they would be able to add or subtract caster out of the front suspension. Now the passenger side does not have that. So it was interesting, but I know from when I used to race miniature stock cars that the fastest way around the racetrack is to make the car the fastest in the center of the turn. So what we would do is we would offset the caster from the left tire to the right tire. So caster, for guys that don't know alignment terminology, caster is like the forks on a bike. That is the upper and lower ball joint inclination. So it's if you drew a line between the ball joints, that angle is your caster. So zero caster, they'd be straight above each other. And as you go to positive caster, the upper ball joint goes forward, or the lower ball joint, the upper ball joint goes back, and the lower ball joint would go forward. So like raking a bike on a chopper, the more you get that angle forward, the more caster you have, which makes the car want to steer and drive. So what we would do is we would split the caster 2 degrees. So how we would check to see if the alignment was right at that racetrack, we'd go down the front stretch or the back stretch at not full race speed, but pretty good clip. You want to be going pretty good, and you'd let go of the steering wheel, and the car should turn the corner of the track and come out in the middle of the back stretch, or if you're on the back stretch, come out and be in the front stretch with your hands off the wheel. So that way, the theory is you're not fighting the car to go through the turn. The car wants to turn. Then you're fighting it down the straightaway because you're on the gas on the straightaway, so you have horsepower to propel the car. But when you're trail braking and then coasting at the apex of the turn and then tipping into the throttle, exiting the turn, you don't want to be fighting the suspension. So that's what we would do. Like I said, we would set the car up every time we'd go to a different track, and we'd do that. We'd go down the straightaway, let go of the steering wheel, and if the car turned the corner and you didn't go towards the wall and you didn't go towards the infield, your caster split was good and the car was ready, had a good alignment for that racetrack. So that was interesting that's how they did it on these cars also. So solid mounts with the bushings. Got a lot of support bars inside the car, more than I thought. There's the trailing arm, the truck arms, and it has an eccentric on the passenger side one so that they can put rear steer in the car if they want to. So it was another interesting fact that I never knew that they did that. So they put frame rails all around underneath the car, and that's where they would get all your center points and all that stuff. So it was pretty interesting. Of course, there's the stamped floors, but you can tell they're not OE. They're a copy. And those are plates at the end of the frame rails. There's 2x3 box tubes front to back, and they got caps on there, so they could slide lead bars down inside the frame rails there, and for balancing the car. This car actually has boom pipes on it, boom exhaust, and they actually are out both sides, and they're not tied together again because it wasn't a race exhaust; it was for show. And there's your diff cooler, which I did the same thing, and it's plugged off because it's got a standard rear end in it. And the bottom of the dry sump tank, of course, there's no tank in it because it had a wet sump engine in it. But all those things at one time were used for racing. Spring mounts in it. You got your jack screws there, 2 different locations, so give you some tuning ability there, I guess. And dual shock mounts. There's the 9-inch diff with no cooler in it. That one does not have the pump or anything in it. And JFZ brakes all around. So some of the stuff, the camera was really close. I'll probably end up editing some of this out, but there's the driver's side truck arm and shock. Back panel that was wrinkled on the other side. And the fittings on the back of the housing, because normally the diffs that NASCAR would run would have a pump inside, so it would run through the cooler. And there's your Panhard bar mount, which had a slot in the middle and a couple different adjustments. And so here, so we saw that wrinkle above the fuel cell, and that wrinkle, everybody's assuming the car was hit, but I think here's what happened. When I first found out about this car, it had a locked up engine in it. And if I fast forward or not fast forward, but let the video play right there. In fact, I'll put my hand up there in a second. I thought I did. But what that looks like, yep, there you go. What that looks like is a fork from a fork truck. And if you look at this mark over here, it's at the same point. So what I think happened was somebody took a fork truck and tried to push start this car, and the fork truck, whatever they had them on, slipped and ran into the fuel cell tank, and that's what damaged all this stuff. And I think all that metal pressure made that rear panel twist. So I'm going to cut these bars out, this bar and the one next to it. I'm going to cut them out and put new ones in, and then I'm going to try to porta power and dolly the fuel cell tank. And I'm wondering if that wrinkled panel will come back out. There's the other one, and push it, because there's really nothing to push on. You can't push on the bumper or anything, and they really did a number on that thing. So I see Ryan said, cool, I have my Vegas set up with eccentrics. Yeah, eccentrics are made for easy and quick adjustments. Kind of move around. I think what I was trying to do here is on that one frame rail, right there, there's 3 holes punched in the upright frame rail. I don't know what they're for. Oh, you know what? They may be. I bet you that's a rear sway bar mount. That's what that's going to be. They probably hung a sway bar off the rear end housing and had arms going forward, and this was the mounting. I'm assuming anyway. It'll be a good question. I'll put in the video when I do put the video out for race NASCAR crew guys and stuff that were in the know would be able to tell. So I'm going to try to save those boom tubes, but it does need an X pipe in the middle of it for performance. If not, then I'm going to take those and make new ones out of stainless so they won't rust and fall apart like they are right now. But yeah, so it was just some of the stuff I took, just trying to, I'm on a bunch of groups. I guess that's the last one. I thought I had one that showed the engine bay. Oh, sorry. This one here. So, yeah, anyway, so I'm on a bunch of groups on Facebook, and a lot of the guys on there, there's a lot of ex-race team employees and stuff like that. So, been interesting when I can get a hold of one of those guys and start showing them some pictures, how they can start coming up with information. So, this was really just a first walk around when I first started filming on Sunday. Just trying to get some stuff to use for the video of them making. I go down here for a shot at the serial number on the frame, but you can't see, it's dark. But I've got pictures of that, so I'll add that in. So, interesting. I got to figure out what those master cylinders are, because I'm sure I'm going to have to get rebuild kits for that. There was when the seat was still mounted with the belts and everything, and all the roll bar padding that was in there and stuff. And just kind of going to use this to, get it out there and see if I find some more people that might know of something. Not that I don't think the car is going to have any value. I'm not looking for that. It's just curiosity. I really like to know what the history of the car was, what year the chassis was actually made. I put a deal on. On those groups that, if anybody else had a Laughlin chassis with front clip numbers in the 700s to 900 area, or if they just had old cars, what year was your Laughlin car and where are your serial numbers? Because there's where the serial number is normally stamped in the car, but NASCAR didn't really mandate that till around 95 or 96. So this car obviously is older than that because it has nothing on that bar. I stripped it. There's no markings at all. So we know the car is at least 94 and older. Going off of a couple of the things that I did find out with the front chassis number. So the front clip number on the car is a 943, and I've talked to two people who have answered my post on a couple of the groups, and one guy had a 88 car, 1988 chassis, and his car front clip was a 790, and his car number, I forget what the car number was now, but he so going off of that, he had the dates of his car, so he knew where his car was. So that kind of puts this car. Also, I saw an interview with Mr. Laughlin before he passed away. He was on a podcast, and he was saying they were making 250 front clips a year, at least, or more. But on a slow year, he said 250. So if that guy's car is an 88, and his chassis number, he has a chassis number on his car. My front clip is 100, like around 100 numbers newer than his, but that could still be from the same year. And if my clip has a chassis number, but the car doesn't, that means the car could have been front clipped at one time. So it could even make the car even older. So, it's just one of those things, could it have been a Alan Quickie car? I hope not. Because if it was an Alan Quickie car, I would not do anything to the car. Alan Quickie has a big fan base, and the car would mean too much to too many people to, in fact, what somebody would probably want to do is have the car reskinned back to a Thunderbird, as he would have raced it, but I don't think it was a Quickie car. One thing I did find out in the car, let me see if I can find that picture. I did find 3 wheels, and I don't know if I have it on my phone or sorry if I'm looking away. I'm trying to find these pictures. Oh, there it is. So I was trying to get the car to roll around easier, and let me get back up here. So I was rolling. I wanted to air up the tires, and I found this stamping on 3 of the rims. Now this is very common for all the Cup teams, that they would stamp all their parts because they had so many. In the early 90s, it's when they started getting multiple cars. Before that, in the 80s, usually they only have 1 or 2 cars, a speedway car and a short track car. But in the 90s is when they started getting up. I mean, when you get closer to 98, 2000, teams could have had 10, 15 cars. So they started serializing everything so they knew where it came from. So off of my research, this is showing, this is my way of reading this anyway. It would be January 93, Alan Quickie number 7. And that stamping is on 3 rims. So that would be very common of what they would do. They'd stamp it 1 of 93 because that way they could keep track of how many races those rims went on, because they would time out a lot of this stuff. And of course it has Alan Quickie 7 because when they took all their rims to Goodyear to get tires put on, they'd be able to identify their wheels, so they'd be able to take them back after they had new tires mounted. So that was a pretty cool little find. Just little nuggets like that. Mike says, cars have a history. and it's cool learning that history. Yes, it is. And that's why I'm doing all this stuff. I don't want people thinking, I want to make money off the car or anything like that. It's nothing like that at all. My big concern is I'm going to make it an autocross car, and I'm going to work on making it street legal. So I'm going to have to cut headlights in it, cut taillights in it, and that's going to, take away if the car had any significant history, especially as a tourist body, it would mean something to somebody to not have that done. But we know, as far as the Taurus body as it's sitting right now, that the body of that car was only made for a show car. The guys at Leading Edge put the body on it for show car purposes only, because in 1998 is when the Ford Taurus started that body style in NASCAR. So I think a lot of the Ford teams, or the teams that were looking for money from Ford, they put these cars so they could get everybody familiar with the new body style. So I believe totally that's why this car was put together like that. So in that sense, I can cut it apart. That doesn't matter. But the rest of the chassis, it would be just fun to know where it was, who drove it, things like that. Again, I don't think it's going to make any difference on historical values or anything like that. The car is a common roller of this shape with shocks and springs and all the braking system and stuff all intact. They're only about $2,500 to $3,500. They're not made, made to be a lot. But yeah, Bill, definitely thinking of a sick week 2025 car. My goals right now are, one, to have it ready for LS Fest in September. That's a must, because I wasn't able to go last year. I didn't have a car to take, so I definitely want the car done for that. And then, probably do maybe some good guys car shows and stuff. If it's done, I am playing around with the idea of doing at least a couple stops on the Hot Rod Power Tour. I've always wanted to do it. It was a bucket list thing I want to do. I was really hoping I was going to be able to do it with my dad a number of years ago, but that didn't work out, and since then he has passed. So, kind of be like maybe a tribute to him to finally go on the tour. I've been preparing for it because I've gotten headphones with not push to talk, but you just talk in voice activated microphones with the console, so two people can wear the headphones because the car will be loud, and for driving on the highway. I've got 2 seats for the car. One pretty interesting thing was I bought 2 replacement headlights for the Ford Taurus, and I took masking tape, and in 2 different directions covered up the entire lens of the headlights, and then cut out the edge so I would have a perfect formed shape of the headlight, like a template. Peeled it off very carefully, and it does have the contour of the lens, and I took baby powder and poured it all over the back of it to get rid of all the glue, and I stuck it on the nose of the car, and the sticker on the nose of the car is approximately an 1/8 inch bigger than my template that I made, and it is the same exact shape, and the contour of my template fits the nose of that car really, really close. I mean, it's good enough that I can glue a factory headlight back in that car. So that is something I will be working on. First, I want to get a motor in the car, but I got new Lexan coming for the car. I've got the trans. I got most of the engine pieces now. I'm just waiting on pistons. I've got a Holley Terminator X throttle body fuel injection for it, so it'll look like a carburetor, but it'll be EFI, so I can go ahead and run it on E85, because we're shooting for the compression to be almost 12 to 1, 11.5, something like that. So it'll be pretty cool. Bill said it doesn't have to be done, it just has to run. Yeah, we know that. You towed your car there, not even running, and still made the sick week. So we'll see how it all goes. I was registered this year, didn't make it in, but even just to do the I lost the name of it, but the visiting group the sick ward. It would even be fun just to do the sick ward with the car, but I definitely would want to be on track with it. So, maybe I can be lucky and get the thing all dialed up and maybe do a sealed hood or something like that. I have to see what classes they have. Most of the fast classes, there's no way we could compete with those guys. Even like the NA class, they're going in the sevens. So yeah, this is not that kind of car, but still be fun to get out and get on the highway with it. Yeah, the Hot Rod Power Tour I think is going to be the best fit for the car because they do autocross and drag racing at some of the venues. It definitely will. They got all the. I've been told that if you follow the route, there's a lot of the small towns, they get big crowds, probably only 20 people, but whatever, they get people that will park on the side of the road to watch the cars go by during the day and everything. And, you see a lot of, you start running around with a lot of the same cars during the event. So it's kind of a drive and drag-esque as far as the camaraderie with other like-minded people. Just don't get to drag race at every event, but still get there. They still do have some stuff going on, so it'd be fun. I'd like to try to. Mike has said I'd like to try to do the sick ward next year. It would be fun just to do the drive. That's what I'm saying too. I think the drive, especially when they have you go on back roads, you're not going down the highway. Back when I was racing the Pro Mod and Pro Street and NMCA, we traveled all over the country, but I'd never seen any of it because you're going up and down the interstate. So I mean, you can see some cool stuff, but a couple of years ago, Scott and I drove to LS Fest, and it was his first time ever towing a trailer. He had my open trailer on a U-Haul rental truck. So it wasn't like really prepared, tow rig. So I didn't want to take him through Mount Eagle on Interstate 24 from Chattanooga going towards Nashville because that's real high elevation. There's, 5 miles of 4% grade, and I just didn't want to have him have any issues with, going down the steep grade with the trailer on the back and not being really familiar of ever towing in his life. So I found a back road. We got off 75 in Tifton, Georgia. We took this back road that ended up getting us over to 85 near Birmingham, Alabama. And then we went straight up 85 straight into Nashville. But that was a really fun drive because we went through a couple of towns. It was like going back in time. I mean, it was like you get in this little town that looked like 1950. Even had old cars on the side of the street, not cars, period, correct cars, but, people in those areas just weren't driving brand new cars. So it was really cool. So I can only imagine how much fun it would be to do a sick ward or a hot rod power tour or something like that. So, the one thing with the power tour, I've been told by many people that do the tour is, with 4,000 cars there, it's pretty crowded and stuff, if you get to the venues late, if you try to make a lot of pit stops along the way, and you end up getting to the venue in the late afternoon, I heard it gets pretty long line to get into the show, but I'm willing to try it. I know for a fact I got to make the car have an awesome cooling system. That's a no-brainer. I need that for LS Fest. I mean for autocross also. So we'll see. We'll get it together. Let's see. Bill says they had a lot of people along the route for Sick Week. Even the police were watching. That's cool. And Bill says Sick Ward is a lot of fun. Cool. Yeah, I mean, you guys get to see those people. And I know Tom Bailey does a lot of stuff with the sick ward guys. They get special food, special parking. And so, I mean, he tries to do something to get with your money. Mike says, with an OBS Suburban, I'm setting it up for... Man, my eyes are getting so bad. I'm sorry. For overlanding, I wouldn't even need a hotel. That is true. A lot of people, if you get on some of these groups, a lot of people talk about doing the camping route and stuff like that. For sure, if you hit some KOAs or any larger campgrounds, they usually have showers and stuff where you can, get cleaned up and stuff. So, that would be a good experience, especially if you have it already set up for overland. So you already got it, tenting area and all that. So that'd be really cool. So we'll see. Get your Suburban done, and I'll get the NASCAR done, and maybe we'll both do Sick Ward next year. So we'll see what happens. But so that was kind of the week that I had. I don't know if I should. So today, one of the reasons why I was hustling and didn't have any little videos made for you guys today, I had an old customer. I worked on his Mustang back. We were trying to put time and dates together, but it had to be around 2008. We put a motor in it, put Excel DFI on it, got it running. He was doing different things. Well, the car had been sitting for, wife's home. He's let the car sit for like 11 years. So a couple months ago, he reached out and said, I want to get my car running. So I said, we need to get the injectors out, need to flush the fuel system, stuff like that. So we pulled the injectors, and it had a trick flow intake. So you had to pull the upper plenum and all this stuff off. And then, I don't know, time in between his time and my time trying to get hooked back up, it's been 6-8 months since we did that. So he came over today. And he's been trying to get in the shop. And I told him, I said, dude, please be here at 9 o'clock. That way we can get this thing going. We don't know what we're going to have. I know you say just put the injectors in and put the intake on, but it never works out like that. It's always an issue. So try to get here early, and that way we can knock it out. And that way I'd have my afternoon to get ready for the show. Well, no phone calls or nothing. And he shows up at 12:45. And, of course, as soon as I go to work on it, a bolt breaks off in the intake, so I had to drill and tap the intake, and just a cluster. And, I just don't, sometimes I don't understand people, because I get the car running, and of course now I haven't worked on like the fuel injection or heard the engine run since like 2008. I get my laptop out and get hooked up to it, and it doesn't have a wideband in it. Back then we I don't know what, we used a wideband on a dyno, and I guess maybe he didn't want to pay for it or what. I don't know what the circumstances were. It was way too long ago. There's no way I could remember that. So it doesn't have a wideband. So he wanted to do a street tune. I'm like, well, with a narrow O2 sensor, you can't really do much. I can make sure it's not overly rich, and I can make sure it's not lean, but that's all we can do. And it had a plug that is cracked or something, because it kept going, misfiring and then coming back alive, and misfiring, coming back alive, and all this. So, and then got hot, which was one of the reasons he says he quit driving the car. Come to find out there was some bad connections in the wiring and stuff, and one fan wasn't working. So I got both fans redone, fixed a bunch of wiring, and got the fans working and everything. And the car started staying pretty stable. So I was able to sit in there and start working on the tuning and stuff. And, I had heard of flat spots, so I'm trying to add some acceleration fuel and stuff like that. Just kind of really can't do anything serious, because it's don't have a wideband, so we don't have any real data. I'm only going by what I hear and what I feel, kind of like a carburetor type deal, And so I get the car running. He's like, oh, yeah, it's running better, pretty good. It's 6:15 now. So, I've only got 30 minutes to get prepared for the show tonight. And I'm gonna send him an email, because this part really gets me. First of all, the little bit of a pushiness to get, I understand it took him a long time to get some space and some time of mine to put eyes on his car. and he was kind of pushy about trying to get farther along and get more done. We load the car up on a trailer, and he goes, "So I don't know if I owe you anything, but I'll catch you next time." What the? So, needless to say, not very. It kind of ruined my day today. But it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it now. I'm gonna write him a well-worded email along with a bill that he can send me some money through Zelle or PayPal, and depending on how that comes out will depend on whether I even work on the car ever again. So it floors me sometimes the mindset of people in this world. I mean, I've worked on the car from 12:30 till 6 o'clock at night, 6:15 at night, and I was only going to charge him $300, which I thought was a gift. But now I'm going to go regular shop rate and charge him for pulling the injectors out that a long time ago and putting them back in and having fixed broken bolts and tuning adjustments. I mean, I did all that stuff. I should be paid for it. So sorry, rant over. It really floored me. So anyway, that's pretty much what I had tonight for the show. I want to, obviously I said on Facebook too, but congratulations for Bill and Dawn for completing sick week. I'm glad you guys were able to get through it. I wasn't sure there for a while we were going to make that happening. Mike says running a business nowadays is tough. People have no consideration anymore. You are 100% correct. I mean, I even if I go out to eat for my Sunday breakfast joint or whatever, even people get delivery food. I tip. If you did a good job, I'm gonna tip you. I think you deserve it. You went above and beyond, and you did what you were supposed to do. So let me give you some gratuity for doing that. So I don't know why that is something so hard for people to understand. It where they always say you can attract more bees with honey. Be nice and appreciative of what you've got going on, and I don't know. Anyway, so that's what we have for the show this week. Thank you everybody for listening to me rant tonight. I apologize for not having any actual videos put together, but I will get some for the next week. I am going to be on a family cruise next week, but I will have a taped show for next Tuesday. That way, for the people that aren't aware that I'll be out of town, when they go to the show, something will be there. Bill says we couldn't have done without you. You guys don't owe me nothing. I had a lot of fun trying to help you guys get on there. 302 Performance. That's somebody new on the chat. Welcome to the show. I do a bunch of side work out of my shop here, and people want cheap prices. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, everybody appreciate it if you can hit the thumbs up on the thing. If you're new to the channel, check out some of the videos that are on there. I think I got some pretty good stuff on there. I'm definitely getting more Holly information is going to be coming on soon, and we'll get a walk around video on Joe's car for the channel. So we always try to do a walk around video when we're finished up with the new project. And like I said, I will have a taped show for next week, so it'll be on. But it'll be pre-recorded. So go ahead and leave comments, even though it's taped, because I'll come back and answer them. So I appreciate everybody coming and watching, and I hope everybody has a good week, and have fun. See ya. Let me get this.